This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
It's precisely 1:15. This is the news on Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News is edited by Lal Mallavarachi, read by Sabrina Zawahir. The headlines. $400 million earned in migrant workers' remittances in the 4 months of this year. New medical faculty of the Uva University will start its studies in 6 months. The Railway Department is restoring the hampered train operations between Hatton and Nanuoya. National Building Research Organisation extends landslide warning issued to 6 districts. The Parliament approves the Aswasuma Welfare Benefit Scheme. And in world news, Ukraine claims gains in Bakhmut after Russia denials. And in sports, West Indies appoint former captain Darren Sammy as ODI and T20 coach. Now the local news in detail. Minister of Labour and Foreign Employment Manusha Nanakara says Sri Lankan migrant workers' foreign remittances have been an improvement in April 2023 in comparison to the inflows recorded in April last year. Thereby, workers' remittances have climbed up to $454 million last month from the inflows in April last year, which amounted to only $248.9 million. This is an increase of $205.1 million or against 82.4%. However, compared to the workers' remittances in March this year, which added up to $568 million, Sri Lanka has consecutively registered over $400 million in migrant workers' remittances in the 4 months of 2023, with cumulative inflows reaching $1,867.2 million. The government is planning to set up a new medical faculty for Uva University. Chairman of the University Grant Commission, Professor Sampath Amaratunga, says that the new medical faculty will start its studies in 6 months. 50 students will be enrolled as the first batch. Currently, there are 11 medical faculties in Sri Lankan universities and over 2,000 medical students have been enrolled for the academic year 2021 and 2022. To further increase this number, President Ranil Wickremesinghe proposed to set up a new medical faculty under Uva University. About 30 consultant specialists serving at the Badulla General Hospital at present have already expressed willingness to serve at this new medical faculty. The Railway Department is to restore the hampered train operations between Hatton and Nanuoya on the upcountry line. Following a derailment of a train between the Great Western and Wategoda railway stations, the trains plying on the upcountry line were disrupted since last evening. Owing to the situation, the trains departing Colombo Fort are operated only up to Hatton railway station, while the trains leaving Badulla are halted at Nanuoya railway station. Passenger buses have been deployed between these 2 railway stations to minimize the inconvenience caused to the commuters. This news is brought to you by Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Digital accounts can now be opened in 10 minutes. People's Bank Digital Banking, your ultimate convenience.
Continuing local news, the National Building Research Organisation has extended the landslide early warnings to 6 districts, namely Colombo, Galle, Kalutara, Kegol, Matara and Ratnapura. Accordingly, a level 1 warning is effective in the Sitawaka and Padukka, Nagoda, Nelluwa, Baddegama, Yakalamulla and Alpitiya, Bulat Sinhala, Yatiyantota and Daraniyagala areas until 6:30 p.m. tomorrow. Since the rainfall within the past 24 hours has exceeded 75 millimeters, people living in these areas have been urged to be on alert about the possibility of landslides, slope failures, rock falls, cutting failures and ground subsidence. Meanwhile, the Level 2 warning is effective in the Palindunuwara and Walivathara Divisional Secretariat divisions in the Kalutara district, Kotapura Divisional Secretariat area in the Mathura district, and Ahliyagoda and Kiriyalla Divisional Secretariat divisions in the Ratnapura district. The residents of these areas are urged to be ready to evacuate to a safer location if the need arises. Parliament yesterday approved the new Aswasama Social Welfare Benefit Scheme and allowed beneficiaries to enter and exit depending on the change in their incomes. The proposal was approved by the Parliament without a vote. The proposed Aswasama Social Benefit Act was taken up for debate in Parliament yesterday. Joining the debate, State Minister Anura Pasquale said suitable members were selected through a proper filtering system for this beneficiary payment. The process was carried out in a transparent manner, he added. The payments for the beneficiaries are also increased. Parliamentarian Ranjit Madhuma Bandara said the social benefits should be provided in fair manner to all underprivileged common masses. The country has gone down to this level due to many lapses in the government policies, the MP alleged. That ends local news.
Debit card, mobile and internet banking and cardless cash accounts can now be opened in just 10 minutes with no form filling with People's Bank Digital Banking.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
A program to generate income for Sri Lanka through health tourism is expected to be prepared, says Sagala Ratnayaka, the President's senior advisor on national security and chief of the presidential staff. His remarks came during the event organized at the Colombo Foundation on the occasion of International Nurses Day. Ratnayaka emphasized that in a country like Sri Lanka, which boasts a beautiful environment, the health tourism program is highly advantageous and that the nursing center should devise new programs to help generate revenue for the country. That was main news.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Moving on to Watchlight, the Immigration and Immigration Department's Controller General Harsha Ilukpetia requests applicants for passports not to visit the department without a prior appointment for a date and time to obtain their passports. He said only those who have reserved a date and time and those who can present documents stating they urgently need a passport can visit the department. Accordingly, those who want to leave the country after spending their vacations, those who need emergency medical treatment, and those who need immediate departure can visit the department with the relevant documents. The Controller General said the department is in the process of implementing a new system to issue passports immediately. Until it is implemented, the public should not visit the department without any appointment. That came to you in Watchlight. Moving on to world news. Taking a look at the headlines of the world news. Ukraine claims gains in Bakhmut after Russia denials. Papua New Guinea minister quits over luxury coronation trip controversy. Astronomers detect largest cosmic explosion ever seen. Now the world news in detail. Ukraine says it has recaptured ground in Bakhmut, a rare advance after months of grinding Russian gains in the eastern city. Kyiv said its forces advanced 2 kilometers a week. Russia said its troops had regrouped in one area. The claims signal a momentum shift in Bakhmut, but more widely there is no clear evidence of any Ukrainian counteroffensive. However, 2 explosions were reported yesterday in Russian-occupied Luhansk. Papua New Guinea's foreign minister has quit after a controversy over spending on country's official delegation at King Charles III's coronation. Justin Tachenko travelled with his daughter Savannah, who posted a TikTok showing her first-class plane journey and shopping spree in Singapore. Some groups sparked protests in the capital port of Moss Bay yesterday outside Parliament House, and Papua New Guinea is a Commonwealth nation in the Pacific which has King Charles as its head of state. Astronomers have discovered what they believe to be the largest explosion ever detected. The explosion is more than 10 times brighter than any recorded exploding star known as supernovae. So far, it has lasted more than 3 years, much longer than most supernovae, which are usually only visible brighter for a few months. One theory is that the blast was caused when a vast cloud of gas was swallowed up by a black hole. That ends World News. Prior to concluding the headlines of the World News once again. Ukraine claims gains in Bakhmut after Russia denials. Papua New Guinea minister quits over luxury coronation trip controversy. Astronomers detect largest cosmic explosion ever seen. That ends World News.
Development News.
As Sri Lanka is witnessing a week-on-week increase in tourist arrival from China, more flights will be added in the coming months between the two countries. The flag carrier Air China affirmed this week it will resume operations to Sri Lanka starting July. According to Tourism Minister Harin Fernando, Air China has committed it would operate 3 flights to Sri Lanka. Fernando took to Twitter to share in brief an update in this regard. He added that the flight frequency would further be increased in the coming months. That was moving on to sports news. West Indies have named former captain Darren Sammy as one-day and T20 coach. The 39-year-old who led West Indies to 2 T20 World Cup titles replaces Phil Simmons after he stepped down in October following their early exit from the T20 World Cup. All-rounder Sammy played 38 tests, 126 one-day internationals and 68 T20s, and since retiring in 2021 has coached in the Caribbean Premier League and Pakistan Super League. He led West Indies to victory in the 2012 and 2016 T20 World Cups. That was sports news.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු හීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Elon Musk has named a few chief executive of Twitter just over 6 months after his controversial takeover of the social media company. The billionaire said Linda Yaccarino, the former head of advertising at NBC Universal, would oversee business operations at the site, which has been struggling to make money. He said she would start in 6 weeks. Mr. Musk will remain involved as executive chairman and chief technology officer. That was business news.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු හීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
Moving on to economic news, a top official of the central bank says the trade deficit widening for 4 years, including this year, despite the current import ban, is compelled to relax its import barriers. Many of Sri Lanka's trading partners, including the European Union, have raised concerns over import bans and threatened not to renew a lucrative trade concession deal, GSP+. That was economic news.
Weather Report.
Finally, we take a look at the weather report. Showers or thunder showers will occur at times in western, Sabaragamuwa, central, northwestern and northern provinces and in Galle and Mathura districts. Fairly heavy showers above 75 millimeters are likely at some places in western and Sabaragamuwa provinces and in Kandy, Nuwara, Galle and Mathura districts. Several spells of showers may occur elsewhere over the country. Strong winds about 40 to 45 kilometers per hour can be expected at times over the island. That was the weather report. Prior to concluding this bulletin of news, the headlines once again. $400 million earned in migrant workers' remittances in the 4 months of this year. New medical faculty of the Uwa University will start its studies in 6 months. The railway department is restoring the hampered train operations between Hatton and Nanu Oya. National Building Research Organisation extends landslide warning issued to 6 districts. The Parliament approves the Aspasuma Welfare Benefit Scheme. With that, we conclude the news.